My wife packed her bags and said, "You didn't want to open our marriage, so I'm taking the kids and moving in with my ex-lover." The words hit me harder than any physical blow I'd ever taken. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Her voice was calm, almost rehearsed, like she had been waiting to say this for months. The zipper on her suitcase sang a cruel harmony in the silence of the living room, punctuating the unraveling of 12 years of marriage. I stood frozen, watching as she stuffed clothes into the bag with mechanical precision, each folded shirt a declaration that I was no longer enough. My son, our son, stood by the door, gripping his backpack straps with small fists. His face was pale, his eyes shifting between me and her. Then he spoke, his words carving deeper than hers ever could. My new dad promised. He trailed off, but I didn't need him to finish. I knew. My wife's ex-lover wasn't just a shadow from her past anymore. He was a replacement for me, a man who had whispered promises into her ear, promises she had chosen over the vows we once made. The betrayal wasn't just hers. It was systemic. It was the way she had allowed him into their lives, quietly, insidiously, until even my son believed another man could be his father. I wanted to shout, to tear the walls down with my anger, but grief pressed against my chest like a weight I couldn't lift. Instead, I whispered, "You're leaving for him?" She zipped the suitcase, stood tall, and met my gaze with a look that wasn't cruel, but wasn't kind either. It was detached. "I need freedom. You never understood that. He does. He knows what it means to love without limits. You just cling." Freedom. That was the word she chose. Freedom to betray. Freedom to shatter the foundation we had built. Freedom to teach our children that love is disposable when it no longer feels thrilling. I didn't beg. Not because I didn't want to. I did. A part of me wanted to fall on my knees and plead for her to remember who we were. But another part, a part that still clung to dignity, knew begging wouldn't change anything. Her mind was made up long before this night. They left, the door shut, and with it, the air left the house. I sat in the quiet, the echo of their absence louder than any argument we had ever had. I stared at the couch where we had once fallen asleep watching movies, at the kitchen where we had danced barefoot at midnight, at the hallway where our son had taken his first steps. Every corner of the house was now a museum of ghosts. Days turned into weeks. I functioned like a machine. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. The silence of the house gnawed at me, the missing laughter of my children echoing like accusations. Nights were the worst. I would lie awake, imagining her with him, picture my son calling another man Dad. One evening, after weeks of drowning in the spiral, I decided to drive. The road stretched endlessly, and with every mile, the weight of betrayal shifted. Not gone, but different. I found myself parked in front of the lake where she and I had once sat in our early years, dreaming about the future. The water reflected the stars, calm and indifferent, as if mocking my storm. That night, I realized something. Betrayal doesn't end you. It tries to. It strips you bare, leaves you bleeding in the dirt. But if you can survive the tearing, you emerge sharper, harder. I began to rebuild. Slowly, painfully. I started with myself. Therapy, gym, long walks, journaling. I poured my grief into words, filling notebooks with questions that had no answers. Why wasn't I enough? Why did she choose him? Why didn't she fight for us? Eventually, the questions stopped mattering. What mattered was what I would do next. I reached out to my children. At first, the calls were short, awkward. My son's voice was hesitant, confused. He loved me. I knew that, but he was caught in the web she had spun. Still, I persisted. I never spoke ill of her in front of them. Instead, I showed up. Birthdays, school events, random calls just to say I loved them. Months passed. The bitterness dulled. I found new rhythms, new purposes. I wasn't the same man I couldn't be, but I was alive. Then came the day my son called me without her prompting. His voice cracked, carrying the weight of something a child shouldn't have to bear. "Dad, he's not who Mom thought he was. He yells. He drinks. He's not who I want to be my dad." My heart broke and healed all at once. I didn't gloat. I didn't say, "I told you so." Instead, I said the words I had always promised. I'm here. I'll always be here. Because betrayal had taught me one brutal truth. Love isn't proven in grand gestures or romantic ideals. It's proven in showing up, especially when you've been cast aside. My wife never truly came back. Not in the way she left. She returned years later, not to rekindle but to apologize. By then, I had built something stronger within myself. And though I accepted her apology, I didn't give her what she wanted, another chance. The scars remain. They always will. But I wear them like armor. The man she betrayed no longer exists. In his place stands someone who knows that survival is its own kind of victory. And my son, he knows now. He knows who his father is, not because of promises whispered in shadows, but because of love proven in the light.